Okay.
So cute.
Okay. Do I have your consent to film this? Okay, great. This is Christina. This is my roommate and my best friend. And she has a degree in criminal psychology, and she has 2 ESAs, and so we're going to be talking about emotional support animals today. Okay.
She wants nothing to do with it.
I know. Okay. I'm going to start off with, to you, what is an ESA pet, and what can they do?
I think an ESA pet is different for each person. People get it for different reasons, for sure. But it's any kind of animal that offers support or keeps you accountable, like taking care of them or taking them outside or making them feel better whenever they're super anxious.
Yeah.
So I think that the benefits change from person to person. There was a second part of that question. What was it?
What can they do?
So they can hold you accountable.
Oh, okay.
They can force you to go outside and get sunlight. They
Okay.
can force you to get out of bed every day if you struggle with depression. They can force social aspects if you have anxiety by taking them outside and seeing people. Vet appointments are really scary.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be an adult for that kind of stuff. It just depends on what you struggle with, but an animal can fix anything.
Good to know. She's, yeah. We have them both here. Okay. Can you introduce us to your emotional support animals? Speak a little bit about them and maybe their personalities a little bit.
This is Odessa. This was my first rescue, and she is very anxious because she was very abused, and so she's very reactive. So she's taught me to be accountable, because I feel like a lot of people aren't accountable for reactive animals.
Mm-hmm.
And she never, I have to take extra special care of her, as you know, because you live with her.
Mm-hmm.
And then this is Ollie, and he's super chill, and he just kind of sleeps all day, and if I'm upset, he'll let me hold him, because he doesn't really care what I do, and you can hold him like a baby.
Mm-hmm.
So they're 2 different kinds of service animals, because one I have to be of service, and then one I have to service me if I'm sad.
You guys help each other.
Symbiotic.
Okay. And they're both certified.
Rescues, both certified.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But not service animals.
Right. ESAs.
Yes, it is.
What makes them good ESAs for you?
So, as I said, this one is especially anxious. So I have to take extra care of her. So if I'm feeling down, I have to take her outside. It's not like having a cat where you can just kind of be like, here's some food.
Mm-hmm.
Take care of yourself for the day. Look after yourself. I'll see you tomorrow. But you have to 3 or 4 times a day be super in depth with her, and going outside with her is never easy, as you know.
Mm-hmm.
But with him, he's just comforting, and he's like having just a chill guy around all the time.
Mm-hmm.
A friend.
A friend.
A child and a friend.
Mm-hmm. Okay. What types of animals do you qualify as good ESAs, as quality emotional support animals?
I think anything, honestly.
Any animal?
I mean, I don't think that, if it's an animal like an iguana, you can't take those out in public.
Right.
But you don't have to have ESAs in public. So I think
you could certify
you
an
could
iguana
certify a
as
snake
an
if you want to.
Okay, yeah.
Anything
goes.
that brings you comfort and holds you accountable for your day-to-day life, I think should be an ESA. Like horses?
Yeah.
They're pretty cool.
Horses. Yeah. I never thought about that, actually.
Everybody loves that.
Oh. Alrighty.
Sorry.
Do you think you'd ever consider training an emotional support animal or working with emotional support animals to train them to be ESAs?
I don't think I'm cut out for it, personally. I don't think a lot of training goes into ESAs. These guys.
They're just the way that they are.
ESAs, I think service animals take a ton of training, and that I could not do, because it's working in a daycare kind of vibe. It's a lot of work. very rigorous, and you want them to be a very specific way. But ESAs, it's like whatever you need. They don't. My dog barely knows how to lay down, but she still does what she needs to do in the context of an ESA. But a service animal, I don't think that I would have the patience to train them, but the people that do are very, very, very strong.
Awesome. Okay. I feel like this is a good one. It's pretty big with like ESAs and the housing laws. How do you feel about housing laws and ESAs or service animals, and how in America, maybe in other nations and countries too, but at least to my knowledge in America, like, why is that? Like, why do we need special permission to have ESAs in a home?
I think that, like, the no pet thing, that's one thing. Whatever, to each their own, I guess. But I think that I can't speak on other countries, but America for sure. They like to capitalize off of pets. So you're paying up to $150 a month.
Yeah.
For just some guys to sit in your apartment and not really do anything or mess anything up. It's not like having another person that's using water or heat or anything like that. So I think that America definitely uses that, but I think the whole ESA loophole, if that makes sense, that's what people like to call it, it's great because it's very easy to get an ESA and pretty easy to get a letter if you have the diagnosis that is necessary for an ESA. But I think that landlords like to capitalize off of, or like profit off of animals, so I like that there is an alternative. Like now I can go anywhere and I can bring both of these little guys that I couldn't live without for free, and they can't use that for profit, which is cool. I like that there's that option, but I think it's pretty dumb that you have to do that in the first place.
I never understood pet rent either in the first place, because you already pay to actually own, like you pay to adopt an animal one time. You choose to do that. But,
not to mention you're paying for a space.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it should matter what you do within that space, even if there is an animal involved. Especially if they don't harm things. Like, these guys don't really do a whole lot.
No, not damaging.
No. Just sleep.
Great. What was the application process like to get your pets ESA certified? Was it easy? Was it lengthy?
It was very fast. It took a long time to find the right website for me, because I did have to do it online, because I do have a therapist, and I reached out to her first, and I was like, yo, can you write me a little letter that says that I can't live without them, because you know that I can't, because she was like, I absolutely do know that you can't, but no, you have to have like a certain degree, doctorate level thing that she didn't have specifically for that. So I had to go online, but I went through like esadoctors.com, and they were very accommodating. I just had to fill out like one form, and it was like very basic, like, what are your diagnoses, like, why do you think your service animals would help you, what is your name, like all that stuff, like your basic information. And then they reached out to me via email, and they were basically like, here's 3 questions, like, you have to kind of fill out more of a form for 2 service animals versus 1. And it was like, why are they different? Like, what do they offer? Like, what does one offer via?
Okay.
Keep saying via. Versus, what does the other one offer? So, like, her, it was like getting me out of the house. Him, it was, a hug. Comfort. And so, after that, after I kind of like went through it, he sent me my letter and was like, wish you the best. So it was very short and it was easy, but it was hard to find them at first.
Okay. Do you think that people who fake own a service animal pose a risk to society and to disabled people in American culture or in any culture? For example, an emotional support animal and a normal pet clash in a public place, like at a store.
Like if I brought her in and tried to pretend like she was
Right.
a service animal?
Yes. And one dog, or I'm just using a dog as an
Right.
example. Say one dog was an actual ESA, the other dog had an ESA vest on or a service animal vest on, but wasn't a certified ESA. How do you feel like that situations like that pose a risk to disabled
service
people?
animals specifically, like my certified ESA, they don't have any training. They have no like not restraint, like they're both very well behaved animals, but like they're also very anxious, so I keep them pretty sheltered, but I would never bring her on a plane, whatever it might be. So I think that unless your dog or whatever is specifically trained, usually it's just dogs that are service animals, I think right now, like trained ones, like
service animals,
like service certified service animals that get trained. And I think that if you're passing off your animal that's not actually trained for that, like you're putting diabetics at risk, you're putting people prone to strokes at risk, like a lot of different health things, which service animals are more health and mental health, but like a lot of physical health too. So you don't know what you're risking bringing your reactive dog into IKEA.
Yeah.
Like, there's like no good reason for that.
Okay. This is kind of like a follow-up question to that. So, you know, it can be brief, but why can't just anybody have an ESA?
There are definitely, like, I couldn't have a service animal. I can have an ESA, but there are like very specific parameters that you have to fit. It's a disability, it's a health condition, it's something that needs like immediate attention or like relief. So like basic general anxiety, depression, stuff like that, like you need an ESA maybe, but you don't need something with you present 24/7 usually, in most cases. I don't know about extensive cases, but I just think that there are parameters that are set that you should follow because there's a lot of science behind it, and don't press it.
All right. And then can you tell me a little bit about the like mental improvements or the aspects of improvement that happens mentally with somebody who has an ESA and who has had one over time?
Decreased loneliness, for sure. It's hard to be lonely with pets. Productivity, accountability, getting outside, which I think is so important. There's a lot that comes from caring for another thing, I think.
Definitely.
Like, it's
and
very
nurturing.
gratifying and nurture kind of biting. Love nipples.
I know.
And it's very satisfying. Like you just get a lot of love in return, which is nice.
Definitely. I want to also, we were talking about in class about how America, and just like in general, we as humans, we tend to profit off of our pets a lot. And we had a discussion about just profiting off of our animals, and why do we hold our pets as these, like, you know, I'm going to use the word royalty, like as these like royal figures almost in our lives, like, and
kind of like some people do with kids online.
Yeah, but how people treat their pets as if they were their own children.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
When they're just wild animals.
Yeah.
Even if they're domesticated, I feel like all animals
it's definitely different.
were wild. So, yeah. I mean, how do you think, like, in what ways can you see maybe people on, like, social media and just, like, in America in general, like, on social media and maybe in real life as well? How do we, like, in what ways are we profiting off of ESAs right now in our generation?
ESA, it's hard to tell which are ESAs and which are not. But you can
That's
kind of,
true.
like, get the general vibe.
The fake,
from
the
it.
not fake.
Yeah, and like ESAs are so different from service animals. I can kind of sniff out a fake service animal just based off of like the general vibe
and how they
of
react.
An animal. Yeah, they shouldn't be reactive whatsoever at all. But I think that a lot of pet owners today are trying to profit off of the fact that they're pet owners, because there's so
Mhm.
much like social media frenzy right now, and so like they'll just get these pets and not know how to take care of them, and
Mhm.
like post these cute animals online or whatever, and manhandle them
Mhm.
or not feed them correctly or
Mhm.
whatever it might be. And so I
Mhm.
feel like there's a big trend of that. I've seen a lot of that
Mhm.
like over the past few weeks. I don't know, I think it's weird. Like I saw a video the other day of a woman just like picking up her toy poodle and throwing it down in an
Yeah.
airplane in front of everyone, and everyone was like, what are you doing? And she was
Yeah.
like, what?
Oh, wow.
Why is that dog
Yeah.
on the airplane in the first place? Only service animals are supposed to be on airplanes.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's weird. It's weird.
Okay, great.
Okay.
Well, there's the end of our interview.
16 minutes.
16 minutes.
Oh yeah.